An autopsy was done, and the initial findings showed that neither person had been hurt from the outside. The manner and cause of death have not been determined. Gene Hackman was more than just an actor. He was one of Hollywood's all-time greats. With 2 Oscars and iconic roles in The French Connection and Unforgiven, he ruled the big screen. But, in a shocking move, he quit everything and chose a quiet life away from the spotlight. His death has left us with many questions. Hackman was very private, but now new information has come to light that has shocked and surprised many. Join us as we look at the revelations from Marine to movie star Gene Hackman, who was born on January 3, 1930 in San Bernardino, California. He had a difficult childhood because his father, Eugene Ezra Hackman, worked as a newspaper pressman, and his mother, Annala Elizabeth, did many jobs to support the family. The Hackman family moved around a lot, and young G went to a lot of different schools. When they were 16, they moved to Danville, Illinois, in search of adventure. Hackman joined the U.S. Marine Corps, but to do so, he lied about his age, which was common at the time. He formally joined in 1946 and stayed in service until 1951, mostly as a field radio operator. His tours of duty took him to places like China, Japan, and Hawaii. When he thought back on his time in the Marines, Hackman admitted, "I was not a good Marine. I have trouble with direction. Because I have trouble with authority," he said, "I had a good time in the Marines." After Hackman finished his service, he used the GI Bill to go to college and earned a degree in journalism and television production from the University of Illinois. This degree set him up for a career in the entertainment industry and was a big change from his life in the Army because it helped him realize his love of performance and telling stories. In an interview in 1988, Hackman talked about his unusual life. Hackman said that his time in the Marines and other jobs had made him tough and resourceful, and that these early years taught him how to approach his craft and deal with the ups and downs of Hollywood. Hackman's change from a troubled youth to a Marine Corps serviceman, and then to the famous actor he is today, shows how his early life has had a lasting impact on his successful career. After serving in the U.S. Marine Corps from 1946 to 1949, Hackman studied journalism and then became an actor. He studied television production at the University of Illinois, but because he was naturally good at acting, he went to New York City and registered at the Pasadena Playhouse in California. It was there that he came under heavy criticism. In an interview in 1984, Hackman talked about how his classmates voted him as the least likely to succeed, which was a bitter pill to swallow, but it only made him more determined to prove them wrong. Hackman's early career was marked by a string of problems. He worked a variety of low-level jobs to make ends meet. Among them was being a road digger, but he kept at his craft, going to auditions and looking for ways to show what he could do. His hard work started to pay off in the early 1960s when he got supporting roles in TV shows, but it was his performance as Buck Barrow in the 1967 movie Bonnie and Clyde that made him a star, earning him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Looking back, Hackman said that his role in the movie paved the way for him to become a Hollywood star. Hackman's big break came in 1971 with the movie The French Connection, where he played Detective Jimmy "Papy" Doyle. His gritty performance earned him the Best Actor Academy Award, solidifying his status as a Hollywood leading man. He went on to give iconic performances in movies like The Conversation, Superman, and Unforgiven, for which he won his second Oscar. Even though he was successful, Hackman was humble about his achievements, and his down-to-earth personality made him popular with audiences. His legacy lives on in the film industry thanks to his fans and co-workers, from being called the least likely to succeed to becoming one of Hollywood's most respected actors. His journey is an inspiration to aspiring artists who are facing their own problems. Hackman's ability to overcome adversity and achieve greatness shows how important it is to be determined and believe in yourself in order to follow your dreams. When he looked back on his life's work, he often said that his problems shaped the way he acted. He believed that the years he spent growing up gave him the work ethic and determination that led to his success. This outlook not only shaped his career, but it also left a lasting impression on the industry, inspiring future actors to never give up. His rise to fame, G. Hackman's performance as Detective Jimmy "Papy" Doyle in The French Connection 1971, starring alongside Al Pacino and Harrison Ford, is still remembered as a turning point in his career, based on a true story about 2 New York City drug police officers who stumble upon a large drug smuggling ring. Hackman's gritty and intense performance earned him the Best Actor Academy Award, which is a testament to his skill at portraying difficult characters. Interestingly, Hackman was initially doubtful about his ability to play the role, but his performance became iconic, showing how versatile and range as an actor. The success of the film not only earned him critical acclaim, Hackman's success on the big screen led to a number of important roles over the next few decades. In 1992, he won his second Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for his role as the cruel sheriff Little Bill Daggett in Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. Despite his fame, Hackman lived a very private life. Unlike most of his peers, he chose to live in Santa Fe, New Mexico with his wife, Betsy Araki. They had a quiet life full of adventure, art, and true love. There were rumors about what he was hiding, but people who knew him say that Hackman's reclusiveness was an effort to live a normal life and keep his private life away from the intrusions of fame. His Santa Fe neighbors described him as humble and friendly, which shows that Hackman wanted to keep his personal and professional lives separate so he could live in peace and simplicity outside of the limelight of Hollywood. Hackman's dislike of the spotlight also showed in his interactions with the press. He didn't do many interviews and wasn't often seen at industry events or award shows. In one interview, he said, "I don't watch my films unless I absolutely have to. I get very nervous. It's more my perception of myself or my desire of what I would like to look like. All I see are the double chins, bags under the eyes, and the receding hairline." This dislike of his fame made him want a more private life. In the 1980s, Gene Hackman stayed busy playing lead and supporting roles. In 1981, he played in All Night Long with Barbara Strand and had a supporting role in Reds with Warren Beatty 2 years later. He played the cast in Eureka and had a supporting role in Under Fire. Surprisingly, he also did the voice of God in the 1983 movie Two of a Kind. That same year, he was in Uncommon Valor, which was misunderstood, and he was in Power 1986. From 1985 to 1988, Hackman was in 9 movies, second only to Steve Guttenberg as the busiest actor in Hollywood at the time. In 1986, Hackman played a high school basketball coach in Hoovers, which the American Film Institute ranked as the 4th best sports movie of all time. He later played Lex Luthor in Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, and even voiced the bad guy, Nuclear Man. He kept up his good form with movies like No Way Out, 1987, Split Decisions, 1988, Asterix, 21, 1988, and Full Moon in Blue Water, 1988. During this time, Hackman also worked with some big stars. In the same year that he co-starred with Gena Rowlands in Woody Allen's drama Another Woman, he played an FBI agent in Mississippi Burning with William Defoe, who was investigating the death of a civil rights leader. His work was praised by all critics, with Roger Ebert praising Hackman's subtlety. He was even nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor, but lost to Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man. He ended the decade with the drama Package, 1989, which solidified his reputation for dramatic roles. Watched Hackman continue to be successful in action, drama, and even comedy roles. He co-starred with Dan Ayoy in Loose Cannons, 1990, and had a supporting role in Postcards from the Edge, 1990. In Narrow Margin, 1990, a remake of a 1952 thriller, he co-starred with Anne Archer. Over the next 2 years, he was in Class Action, 1991, and Company Business, 1991, but one of his most famous roles was in Clint Eastwood's Western, 1992. At first, Hackman didn't want to play another violent character, but Eastwood persuaded him to, and the choice turned out to be a good one. Hackman won his second Academy Award, this time for Best Supporting Actor, and Unforgiven won the Oscar for Best Picture during this time. He also went back to working on Broadway, starring with Glenn Close and Richard Druse in the play Death in the Maiden. His commitment to privacy wasn't out of a desire to hide secrets, but to stay true to himself. This may have led him to withdrawing from later in life. Hackman stopped acting and focused on writing and other interests. He lived a peaceful life, pursuing his love of writing historical fiction. Moving from the screen to the pen gave him the freedom to write without the public eye on him. Gene Hackman's personal life. Hackman married F. Maltz in 1956, and they had 3 children together, Christopher Allen, Elizabeth Jean, and Leslie Ann. His career kept him away for long periods of time, often filming on location while his children were growing up, even though Hackman and Maltz were married for 30 years before getting divorced in 1986. A few years later, in 1991, Hackman married classical pianist Betsy Arakiwa after dating for 7 years. The couple lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and built a home that was featured in Architectural Digest in 1990. It was a mix of Southwestern and European styles and was set on a beautiful 12-acre hilltop with views of the Hems, Sangre de Cristo, and Sandia Mountains. Even in his later years, Hackman was involved in Santa Fe's cultural life, going to local news from as late as 2022. Hackman was also interested in racing. He drove a Formula Ford and Sports Car Club of America races near the end of the 1970s and won the Long Beach Toyota Pro Celebrity Race in 1980. He then raced for Dan Gurn's team at the 1983 24 Hours of Daytona. Hackman was also very political. He was a Democrat all his life and once said he was proud to be on President Richard Nixon's not-so-well-known enemies list. Hackman liked politics, but he also had nice things to say about Republican President Ronald Reagan. Hackman was also a big fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars and would often go watch their games as head coach Jack Del Rio's guest. Hackman and Del Rio were both football players at USC. Hackman was also interested in architecture and design, and he designed and built several homes himself. 2 of his projects were published in Architectural Digest, which he admitted to. He would often start new home restoration projects once a project was finished, saying, "I guess I like the process, and when it's over, it's over." Even though he was getting old, Hackman was still active in 2018. He was a big fan of cycling in 2012, but he was hit by a pickup truck while riding in the Florida Keys. At first, reports said he had serious head injuries, but his publicist later said he had only sustained bumps and bruises. Hackman's health made it hard for him to stay active. In 1990, he had an angioplasty to clear out an artery. Even after he retired, G. Hackman had a long and successful acting career. Some of his best roles were in the early 2000s. In 2000, he played Under Suspicion with Morgan Freeman and The Replacements as a football coach opposite Keanu Reeves. The next year, he was in Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson and Heartbreakers with Sigourney Weaver. That same year, he made a cameo in The Mexican and played an old but skilled thief in Heist, a crime thriller directed by David Mamo. In 2001, Hackman played the eccentric head of the Tenenbaum family in Wes Anderson's The Royal Tenenbaums. It was a different type of role for him, but critics loved it. Frank Sheik of The Hollywood Reporter said Hackman nailed both the conman charisma and the deep love for his family in the role, which won him a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. In 2003, Hackman starred in Runaway Jury, a legal thriller based on a John Grisham book of the same name. Hackman finally got to work with his longtime friend Dustin Hoffman in this movie. The next year, he was in the comedy Welcome to Mooseport with Ray Romano. This was his last acting job before retiring. Hackman won many awards during his career, including the prestigious Cecil B. DeMille Award from the Golden Globes in 2003, which was given to him by Michael Caine and Robin Williams for his outstanding work in the entertainment industry. By 2004, Hackman had already started to retire. In a rare interview with Larry King that year, he admitted that he had no upcoming film projects and thought the end of his acting career. He officially retired in 2008 while promoting his 3rd book. That same year, he made an unexpected cameo on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives when host Guy Fieri stopped by a Santa Fe diner where Hackman was having lunch. His decision to retire wasn't just about giving up acting. In a 2009 interview, he explained that he had, after getting a stress test in New York, the doctor told him that his heart wasn't strong enough to handle the stress of making movies. That advice was the final push he needed to leave Hollywood and retire as an actor. Hackman did a few cameos in 2 documentaries about the U.S. Marine Corps, The Unknown Flag Raiser of IIMA 2016 and We the Marines 2017. When asked in an interview in 2011 if he would ever go back and make one last movie, Hackman laughed and said that he would do it if he could do it in his own home with just a few people and no interference, but he was set on retiring and he lived out his days quietly in the background, what they found inside the house. In the early years of his career, Hackman lived in a few different places in California to stay in the middle of the industry. In the 1980s, he and his wife Betsy Arakawa moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, where they bought a southwestern ranch house on a 12-acre lot. Hilltop with views of the Sangre de Cristo and Sanda Mountains, the two remodeled the house, adding touches of Pueblo colonial and Spanish Baroque architecture. This home became their haven, where they immersed themselves in the local culture and community. Hackman had a deep love for Santa Fe. He once said that the region had a special charm, like magic. His strong connection to the area made him stay there for more than 30 years, even after he stopped acting in 2004. There are a lot of strange homes for sale in Hollywood. For example, the house where actress Sharon Tate and others were brutally killed by followers of Charles Manson in 1969 has been a source of morbid interest for years. Similarly, the so-called Houdini Mansion in Laurel Canyon, which is often but wrongly linked to the famous illusionist, has its own stories of mystery and intrigue. Celebrities often add strange and sometimes quirky touches to their homes to match their personalities. The Florida home of singer Celine Dion had a private water park with slides and a lazy river. The former home of actor Nicolas Cage, called Bel Air Mansion, had strange items like dinosaur skulls and shrunken heads that showed his wide range of interests. There are many reasons why strange or creepy things can be found in celebrity homes. Rich people have the means to buy rare and unusual items. The desire for privacy and exclusivity can play a role. Some celebrities may add secret rooms or hidden passages to their homes to make them feel more mysterious. The stress and attention that comes with fame may also push some celebrities to create personal spaces that serve as refuges from their public image, which can lead to unusual home features. In Hackman's case, his Santa Fe home wasn't flashy, but had a nice mix of architectural features and a strong sense of integration with its surroundings. This retreat gave him the peace of a place far away from Hollywood's busy lifestyle to focus on writing and personal interests. The beauty of celebrity homes isn't just in their size, it's in the stories they tell and the secrets they hide. These homes give us a look into the private lives of famous people, showing us their flaws and sometimes the sexy side of fame. Whether it's because of their unique architecture, interior design, or historical value, the homes of the rich and famous continue to fascinate the public. Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, were found dead in their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico on February 26, 2025. One of their dogs was found by a maintenance worker who had been worried because he hadn't heard from them in a few days. Hackman was found in the foyer, and Arakawa was found in a bathroom near a portable heater. Prescription drugs were also found nearby. Initial tests showed that they had been dead for over a week. Hackman's pacemaker data showed that his heart stopped beating on February 17th. At first, a possible gas leak was thought to be the cause of his death. But reports showed that there was only a small leak in a stove burner, not enough to be fatal. No carbon monoxide or other harmful gases were found, and the bodies of the couple showed no signs of external injuries. The fact that prescription drugs were found on them also raised suspicions about the causes. Experts have also said that companion suicide is not very likely. The bodies were found in different places, and the person had a history of heart disease and wore a pacemaker, both of which are conditions that could have easily led to their deaths. Also, one of their dogs, an Austrian Kelpie mix named Zen, was found dead near Arakawaka, while two others were found alive on the farm. The exact cause of Zena's death is unknown, but it may have been from hunger and thirst. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department is still investigating the circumstances of their deaths. Autopsy reports are still being processed, and officials are trying to figure out what happened in this tragic case. Hackman's daughters and granddaughter were also saddened by the news and are waiting for more information to come out as the investigation continues. The event has left many questions unanswered, and the public is still waiting for more information from the investigation. Gene Hackman's death has been praised by both colleagues and fans alike. His amazing ability to play a wide range of characters left an indelible mark on the movie world. Longtime collaborator and friend Clint E. Wood said, "In deep sorrow, there was no finer actor than Gene. Intense and instinctive, never a false note. He was also a dear friend whom I will miss very much." Director Francis Ford Coppola, who worked with Hackman on The Conversation in 1974, praised his complexity and inspiration, saying, "Gene Hackman was a great actor whom I mourn his loss." Prince William, who was also president of the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, paid tribute to Hackman's memory, saying that he was a true master of cinema who brought to life every single one of his characters with strength, honesty, and stardom. Actors of all generations showed their respect for him. Dustin Hoffman compared him to Marlon Brando, calling him a giant among actors. Glenn Close talked about his kindness and skill, and Tom Hanks talked about how he could change roles. Viola Davis talked about Hackman's influence on her career, mentioning his dedication to realism. Morgan Freeman, remembering their time working together on Unforgiven in 1992, called Hackman a generous performer who brought out the best in everyone's work. Bill Murray, talking about their time working on the Royal Tenenbaums in 2001, mentioned Hackman's occasional grumpiness but emphasized how great he was. Mel Brooks, who directed Hackman in Young Frankenstein in 1974, remembered him as a comedy star with great timing. Alec Baldwin and Gwyneth Paltrow told personal stories about Hackman's help and kindness, and Peter Bradshaw, a film critic for The Guardian, said that Hackman's death marked the end of one of the best periods in American cinema. the new wave. He was a character actor who was really a star. He was the star of every scene he was in. Hackman's career lasted more than 50 years, and he gave great performances in movies like The French Connection, 1971, Hoopers, 1986, and The Firm, 1993. Directors hired him and viewers admired him for his roles, but Hackman was also known for being humble and passionate about his work. He would often avoid the spotlight and focus on playing himself naturally on screen, which earned him 2 Academy Awards and a lot of respect. His death is not only the loss of a great actor, but also the end of an era in Hollywood. As the condolences keep coming in, it's clear that Hackman's story will live on, inspiring future actors. Gene Hackman's death marks the end of an era in Hollywood, but his legacy will live on forever. Hackman was more than just an actor. He was a powerhouse thespian who brought gravity, passion, and sincerity to every role, whether he played the tough Popey Doyle in The French Connection or the mean sheriff in Unforgiven. Hackman was able to make his characters memorable, and the love and admiration from co-actors and directors shows how much of an impact he had on the industry. Clint Eastwood, Francis Ford Coppola, Morgan Freeman, and many others spoke highly of his talent, dedication, and impact on their careers. Even people who had never worked with him envied how he could turn any scene he was in into something special. Even though he was successful, Hackman was never cocky and always saw himself as an actor, not a movie star. He left Hollywood on his own terms, leaving behind a body of work that will be studied and loved for generations. It's sad that Gene Hackman has died, but Gene Hackman will always be remembered as long as people watch his movies. If you like this video and want to see more like it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, let us know in the comments which Gene Hackman movie you like best. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.